All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to do another video with this one. This tutorial is going to be covering Active Directory when deployed on a virtual machine in the Azure cloud. Basically, we're going to be setting up two virtual machines, one being a Windows server and the other one just being a regular Windows 10 Pro. We're going to connect them to the same subnet, causing the domain controller to have a static address. For every time that it's rebooted, it is the same IP address, and the client that's going to be connecting to it. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay. So first things first, we're gonna need to create a resource group in the Azure portal. I got the home page here. We're just gonna go ahead and click on resource group, and then create. And we're going to call this one Active Directory Lab. And then we're going to click on Review and Create. And create. So, got that one created. And then we're going to create a virtual network. So we're going to come back here, click on this virtual network, and create. Gonna go into the same resource group as the Active Directory Lab. And this one, we're going to call it Active Directory VNet. And make sure the same region set for the same region as the resource group. Review and create. And create. I'm going to go back to the home page. All right, so completed successfully. And next, we need to create a virtual machine. Call it DC1. That needs to have the Windows Server 2022 installed as the image. It's got to point to the BNSA resource group that we just created, as well as the same virtual network that we set up. So we're going to go ahead and create the new Windows server, clicking on virtual machines. Then we're going to do create and Azure Virtual Machine. And we're going to point the resource group to the Active Directory Lab. This DC1. And the image, we're going to do the Windows Server, top one here. For the vCPUs, I'm going to do 2. And then username is going to be lab user. We're going to set up password that we can remember. And we're going to click on this next. We're going to do next again to come over to the networking. And there it goes. All right, so we want to make sure the virtual network is set up for the VNet that we set up. IP address. All right, and so That looks good. And then we're going to click on review and create. Let it do its thing with running its validation. All right, so it passed. So now we can go ahead and create it by clicking create. It may take a while for it to deploy. There it goes. Okay, so we're going to come back over here to the virtual network, click on the one that we just made. And come down. I know what, let me back it up to there. Okay, so it wasn't that one. It was virtual machines. And then we're going to click on that one. And then was the network settings. Yep, we're going to click on this network settings. And then up here at the top where it's IP configuration, IP config, we're going to click on that. And then we're going to come down here and click on the IP config 1. And then over here where it's private IP address settings allocation, we're going to select it to static. So its private IP address is going to be 10.0.0.4. So now we're going to hit save. Now that is done, what I'm going to do is actually restart this virtual machine since we just updated its NIC card. Now that it is restarting, I gotta copy the public IP address here. And then we're gonna remote into it. And you come down here to the search bar, you can type in remote desktop, and it should be this remote desktop connection up on top. So now we're gonna paste that IP address in. Okay. Now we got lab user. Click on connect, and then enter in the password that we set up for it. You click OK. We're just gonna hit yes on that. Go full screen, and you'll know it's a Windows server because it'll have the server manager booting up. So then the next thing we got to do is disable Windows Firewall on this one. Do that by coming over here and clicking on Tools. The drop down to Windows Defender Firewall. So then we're going to come to Windows Defender Firewall Properties. On Domain Profile, we're going to click it off. Private Profile, we're going to click it off. Public Profile, turn it off. Okay. Yeah, make sure all three of these are off. Now we're going to hit apply and OK. I'm just going to close that out. I'm now just going to copy that so I can take it over into this one. Okay, we're not going to do anything with logging in, seeing up anything. Okay, gonna find the spot with where we were at. So we just disabled the Windows firewall. We gotta create client 1 and point it to the DNS server of the domain controller. So minimize that down and come back over here. And then we're already in the virtual machines and create another one. We're gonna make sure it's in the same resource group as the other ones. Make sure the region is the same. Okay, we're gonna this one have the Windows 10 Pro. We're gonna do another 2 Veep CPUs. Do lab user for this one as well. Keep everything simple and the same. All right, then we're gonna come down here and make sure that we have it set up to where it's gonna be having a license with it. Okay, so we're gonna click on next. Next, we're gonna make sure the virtual network is the same. So now we're gonna click on the review and create, let it do its validation pass, and then we're gonna click create. All right, so now we're gonna come over to the virtual machines. I'm gonna click on client 1. All right, close that out. Click on network settings. We're going to click on this IP config for its NIC card. And over here where it says DNS servers, I'm going to click on that. And we're going to do custom. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess it already had it in there. We're going to hit save. All right. So it applied to our private IP address for the DC1. Now we're going to restart the client 1. So we click on this checkbox over here and then click restart right here. And then yes. So we just made our settings to it. Okay, so it finished restarting. All right. And the next thing that we need to do is log into HIT. I'm going to open up another remote desktop connection while still having the other one up. I'm going to hit paste from the copied public IP address that we just did. We're going to enter in its password that we just set up. All right, so we're going to click and make all of these no's and then accept. Maximize that out. Okay. So now that we're on here, we're going to test the connection to it. So we go down here to the search, type in PowerShell. I'm going to run as an administrator. So now we're going to ping the IP address. And here we can see that it works. That is what we were wanting. So now we're going to check the DNS server information. So we're going to go back into PowerShell. Now we're going to do IP config. And right here for DNS servers, we can see it has the private IP address for the DC1. So now we need to go back into DC1 and set up the Active Directory services on it. So this is our client one. Okay, so we got Windows or the server manager already up. So now we're going to click on the add roles and features. We're going to make it a role based. All right, so we are going to click on the remote directory deleting services. And we're going to come down here, click on add features. All right, to make sure the latest net framework is on there. And hit next. Next. Now we're going to hit install. So here it says it succeeded. So we're going to close this out. And then now we got a new exclamation point up here. And then click on that. And next thing we're going to do is promote the server to a domain controller. So we're going to click on that. For this one, we're going to add a new forest. And we're going to call it mydomain.com. And click on next. And we're going to enter in the same password that we've been using. Once again, keeping it simple. And we're going to click on next. We're going to unclick the create DNS delegation checkbox, and then we're going to click on next. Okay, so there goes my domain. Click on next. 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 Okay, it did its pre-checks. Now we're going to hit install. After it installs, it just popped up with a message saying it's going to probably restart it. All right. So it's going to be restarting itself. Okay. So we're going to give it a little bit. And then when we log back into it, we have to make sure that we, instead of lab user, since now it's set up as a domain controller, we have to do my domain. See if it rebooted. Okay, and then it's loading up everything still. All right. So now we're going to open up Active Directory. Okay. So we're going to click on Start. Now we're going to go to Windows Administrative Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. Okay, then we're going to create a new organizational unit. We're going to call it employees. Then we'll click OK. And we're going to create another one. And then this one we're going to call admins. And now we're going to add a new user. All right, so I'm going to log in. We're going to do Gene admin as the login for this user. Now we're just going to set up an easy password. All right, so now we're going to make Gene domain admin. So we clicked on her, went down to properties. Yeah. Now we're going to click up here to a member of. I'm going to click add. And now we're going to type in domain admins. And click on check names. We're going to hit OK. Okay. So now we're going to log off by going to power or not power, clicking on lab user and then sign out. So now we're going to test out Gene. All right. So getting back to it, as I had to do a momentarily pause on it. Minimize down. All right, so we are logged in as Gene Doe on the main controller on the Windows Server Virtual Machine. So now we're going to join client one to the domain. Okay. And we're already logged in. The client one from before. No. Firm start browsing. Dart. Found out. Copy my link here from my portfolio at GitHub. All right, so we're gonna right click on this, start button, go to system. Can this read it? The PC. Click on change. Member of domain. All right, so we're gonna type it in mydomain.com. Click OK and do Gene_admin. Put in that password credentials for that one. All right. So now this virtual machine's going to restart. So while that does its thing, going to come back over to the virtual machine that has the Windows server on it. And we're going to come back to Active Directory users and computers. Okay, we're going to create a new organizational unit. And this one's going to be clients. And so then next we're going to allow domain users remote access to client one. So we need to reconnect into the client one virtual machine. So I'm going to minimize that back down. Then we're going to enter into credentials to log back into the client one. Now we're going to right click on the start button, go up to system, click on remote desktop. All right, now we're going to click on select users that can remotely access this PC. And we're going to add anyone with domain users. Click on check name. So we're just going to do admin. So we're going to click OK. So you now have anyone that is a domain user can log in to client one. But then we're going to hit OK. All right. So next is going to be a pretty fun part. We're going to use a script to run in PowerShell that's going to create multiple users and send them to the domain. All right. All right, so we need to open up PowerShell and go down to the search field, type in PowerShell. And we need to make sure that we open up the PowerShell ISE and run it as an administrator. All right. So then go ahead and copy this script here. And click the script button over there. Now we can put it in here. Basically, what the script is going to do is it's going to create 10,000 users. I'm not going to do 10,000. I'm actually going to cut that in half just for the sake of the tutorial. It's basically going to be using any combination of these letters and vowels. And then it's going to just make them random. Okay. Oh, now that we got the script, all right. So now we need to hit the run. And here we can see it's starting to create all of these users. I'm going to let it do its thing there for a second. All right. So now that it's created some, we're just going to go check and see all the users being created. So you got employees here in the active directory for users and computers. And we see all these users that have been created and that are still being created. So now we need to change the group policy for and allow the accounts to where if they enter in a password too many times that it locks them out. So we're gonna so we can hold the Windows key and hit R, and it will bring up the shortcut here. And then we're going to do the group policies. Okay. And I'm going to click on the drop down for mydomain.com. And we're going to do domains, my domain. And we're going to right click on this default domain policy. Now we're going to do edit. Okay. We got computer configuration. And I drop down to policies. Drop down Windows settings. Or their settings, and in security settings, account policy. And what here? Let me open that out a little bit. All right, and then account lockout policy. And we got the account lockout threshold. We can double click that. We're going to do the usual 3 on this one. That way, anytime that they enter in the password wrong for 3 times, then it will lock them out. All right, so we're going to log back in to client 1 here. All right. We're going to update the group policies, and we had none. So same thing, we can do Control R, and then CMD can open up the command line. And we're going to type group policy updates forced. Okay, so it forced it through to accept the new group policies to allow for the lockout on this virtual machine. Okay, so I'm gonna exit that out. All right, so we're gonna come up here and we're gonna sign out. Okay, so phone and close that down. All right, so it looks like it finished creating our users. And so I'm just gonna pick a random user that would be easy to remember the username. Okay. I'm gonna go with bidper. BID.PR. All right, so we are going to my domain. And we are going to use bidper. What? Didn't work. I'm essentially just entering in the wrong password. All right. So, as a security precaution, the user account has been locked because there were too many login attempts or your password change attempts. All right. So, wait a while or contact the system administrator. So, now the group policy is basically working, which is what we wanted. Okay, so here we're gonna click on the one that we just purposely locked out to test it, see if the group policies are working. So we're gonna reset password. We're gonna leave the user's account and gonna give them a new password. Okay. And now we are gonna enter in the correct one. See if they can get on. Which, of course, now that they can. All right. So we are able to log in. All right. Gonna log back out. We're gonna check the event viewer to see if we can look at the failed login attempts. So close a couple of the stuff out. You know, I ain't worried about saving it. We can type event viewer down here. All right. So we're going to go to Windows Log Security. Sorting some of these down. Okay. So audit failures. All right, so these are what we are wanting. All right, so here we can see bid per. Failed to log in. And then again, bid per failed to log in. And then again here. Another one now. I just slept. Basically, still she dead. All right. So here we can see that bid per had successfully logged back in. So that is exactly what we were wanting to see. That close that out. That will conclude today's tutorial on Active Directory and setting it up with the user's roles, setting up the group policy, and creating new users to knock themselves out and reset their password to get them logged back on. So that will conclude it. All right. Take care.